this is how you keep yourself from becoming a commodity, is by adding value, and it comes from you. And we'll look at how to do that in a little bit. And one of the things that I like to talk to people about in this is, many folks, I know printing's particularly susceptible to this. Mike, your prices are probably sort of kind of set, and you can't mess with them a lot. That a fair statement? You know, you two got nothing you can do with your prices. You can dink with your advertising prices all you want. Yeah, you're pretty much set with price. And Denise, you can mess with your prices, but you know what I hear people wanting to do, those that have some price flexibility, they want to discount things right away. And all they do when they start discounting things is going down that slippery slope. Because the next time, well, last time you gave me this off, what did you give me now off the next time? I would say the answer to that is figure out a way to add value, add some service, as opposed to cutting the price. So think about that, and we'll talk about that a little more in the implementation piece. So that's the law of value. The law of value, as it says in the first couple of words, determines your true worth. Now let's move to the law of compensation. This is the one you're going to like, because it's what determines your income. And your income is determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them. And there's really three ways that you can go about helping yourself with the law of value. The first way is innovation. You know, what can you do that's innovative? The second one is replication. How can you duplicate your service more and more? And the third one is delegation. If you've read the E-Myth or the E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber, that's what it's all about. You know, how do you get somebody to do the $10 an hour work so you can do the $100 an hour work? You know, for insurance guys, maybe it's you hire an assistant to make appointments for you. And basically the law of compensation says, you know, how do you apply the law of value to a lot more people? And that's going to determine how much money you're going to make. Then we move to the third law, the law of influence, which says your influence is determined by how abundantly you place others' interests first. And you kind of look at, I saw here on here somewhere, under item 10, the 30-second intro, how your work serves people. That's really what that's about, is how do you serve people. Now, the key to that is you're not going to turn yourself into a doormat and just start thinking about other people. That's not the right way to say that. But just get yourself concerned about everybody else and not think about yourself. There is still self-interest behind this, make no doubt about that. But what Bob says a lot is it's a temporary suspension of your self-interest to put the other person's interest first. Temporary suspension of your self-interest. And we'll look at how perhaps you can do that. That's so, and we can do so much with the law of influence, because Bob's actually written another book on the law of influence, which is called, cleverly enough, It's Not About You. It's a really great read. It's on Amazon. CEO reads both of those. It's frankly, I like it better than The Go-Giver. So that's the law of influence. And then the final law is the law of authenticity. Or excuse me, not the final law, the next to last law. The most valuable gift you have to offer is yourself. In fact, as you were talking, Megan, and your appointment, the example Bob uses in the book is a real estate agent who, she said, you know, the way Joe, who is the protege of the mentor in the book, goes to this sales seminar with Pindar, his mentor, and the person who's speaking, her pitch is that she says, you know, on my 42nd birthday, my kids gave me this gift, and my husband gave me a gift that he left and never came back. And he says, it took me a year to unwrap that gift. And so she says, you know, here I am, 42 years old, don't have any idea of what I'm going to do. So she went and got a real estate license and started attempting attempting to sell real estate, and she hadn't sold any, and she tells a story about going to this one appointment, and she'd not closed one deal, and she'd been to all the sales courses and learned all the sales techniques, and she walked into this appointment. She just even left all her stuff in the car and went into the appointment and just started having a conversation with this woman. And what do you know? She closed on that property in that meeting, and that was the secret. She went to that, and she was just her. Is think we all have our own valuable, unique gifts, and how you apply the law of authenticity is you give those gifts to your clients. I can think back every time I've been in business for my own for about a little over 12 years now, and I can think back every time I've gotten myself into a trick bag is when I tried to be something that I wasn't. I remember once I was working with a guy who owned a mortgage brokerage, and he knew I was an HR guy, so he said, "Jim, can you do some recruiting for me? I want to hire a couple of originators." And I said, I'm not really in love with recruiting, but I can do it. So, worst thing I ever did. That whole deal just fell totally apart because I tried to be a recruiter rather than being the coach that I knew I could be for this guy. So, it's a simple one. Just be you and think about what your unique gifts are and how you can offer them to your clients. And then finally, the law of receptivity. What Bob says there is just be willing and able to, when everything starts to come back to you, be able to receive it. And think about how some of the mental tapes we've got about receiving things. We get around this whole thing, it's better to give than to receive. And we got that whole Midwestern ethic thing going amongst ourselves. And he says, no, it's not better to give than it is to receive. You can't give without receiving. Bob lays out this great example in the book. He says, think about it. We've got the whole animal kingdom on the planet is taking in carbon dioxide and breathing out oxygen, and the whole plant kingdom is taking in oxygen and breathing out carbon dioxide, or taking in carbon dioxide and breathing out oxygen. And think about what happens if you break that cycle. And it's just the same with giving and receiving. Is if you don't receive well, then you cheat somebody else out of the gift of giving. That's real good. And think about when you offer somebody a compliment, how often do you hear, "Oh shucks, it was nothing." And they just really try to discount your compliment rather than saying, "Hey, thank you, you're welcome. I really appreciate that." And what a difference that makes in the whole interaction. And that's really all the law of receptivity is all about. So, how you build your business is by applying those 5 laws of stratospheric success. As Joe's mentor Pendar says, here's the secret to a successful business. It's giving.
So if we could spend a little time, Jim, focused on the law of influence and the law of receptivity during the discussion, that would be great.
Absolutely. So, and we can just kind of go into that right now, Blake.